This is the B3RN
and B3RN HD1 Los Angeles.
The B3 Radio Network. In a world where car companies are numbered in the hundreds, Chevrolet, Pontiac, Honda, Mitsubishi, Kawasaki, GMC, Lotus, Toyota, Acura, BMW, Lexus, you need to know the facts, the latest information for everything about cars, trucks, motorcycles, and ATVs. This is Speed.
Welcome back to, what is this, episode 8 already?
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, 2 months of this. Wow.
Damn.
Long time. Hi, I'm Brian Bombarios, and behind the boards, Boontar and MacGyver Horn. Welcome back to Speed.
Hello.
Here only on the B3 Radio Network. You can give us a call at any time you want at 626-532-7154 or email us at speedradio b3@yahoo.com. And you can also subscribe to us and the rest of the network on iTunes, Twitter, YouTube, and the Facebook. We are all on the social stuff.
Damn.
How you doing, man, with that class?
Pretty good. I had an interesting morning today, though.
What would happen?
I almost spun out on the freeway.
Oh yeah. In here in Southern California, it has been a rainy day today.
No, I literally almost spun out on the on-ramp of the freeway.
Your fancy Mercedes from '92 doesn't have traction control?
No, the rear tires are actually balding.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would.
yeah.
That totally overrides traction control right there.
Oh yeah.
Well, I do have some interesting news. Are you a fan of the Viper, the Dodge Viper?
Yes and no.
Why would you say no? It's like
mean,
it's a super car. That car is so freaking awesome.
No, yeah. I love it, but I'm not entirely in love with it because I'm not. I'm more of a tuner than import.
Yeah, you're an import guy.
But if I were to go with but then again, I'd rather choose a Corvette than the freaking Viper. I don't know why.
It's a mix-up for me, but
yeah,
here's the story: is that as of right now, the Dodge Viper is a discontinued model. It has not been made since I think 2010, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. I think the 2010 was the last one that they had made. The Viper was doing the same thing like what the Camaro did. They took a couple of years off to refresh the model, and then they're going to come back and hit everybody hard with their car. Well, engineers at the Chrysler Group have been working hard to keep the 2013 SRT Viper under wraps. These are actually the first images, and you can check out the images at b3radionetwork.webs.com.
No?
Yeah, these are actually spy photos.
Ooh.
But you can check out the images of everything that we talk about on the show on our show notes at b3radionetwork.webs.com, and then click Speed. And there are the show notes, and that's where all the pictures you'll see that we're talking about on the show. And right now, the Viper next to it is the outgoing model, the 2010 model, I believe.
Wait, this one right here, right? The one closest
in the
to
picture,
us?
In the picture, it's the one behind in the back.
Behind.
That's the last Viper that they made.
And this one's the new one?
The new one, yeah, and obviously it's covered up because it's not. It actually hasn't been revealed yet. This is spy photos of it working out in the field.
I find it funny that the front rims and the back tire don't match at all.
This is a complete test mule. This is I don't know if it's a new so far from what I can understand from the story is that the front of the new Viper, the hood and the body paneling is all new. The new engine is in there and the new transmission's in there, but they use the same doors and the rear panel from the old Viper because they haven't finished it up yet. This is a complete just undercover test mule.
Oh.
And apparently the fact is that the 2013 SRT Viper wears a fabric roof, so it looks like when it comes out, I think it'll be released in April, I think.
So wait, is it convertible?
More likely, from what the rumors that I'm seeing, is that the 2013 will be available as a convertible later on when it debuts.
Oh.
So initially, like the Camaro did too, it would debut as a only coupe, and then the convertible came a few months to a year later. But if apparently from what the photos were and the guy that actually took the spy photos is that if you look at the inside, it's just a complete cluster F. Like there's wires hanging out. The dashboard, it's just random pieces of plastic covering things. Like it just looks like a nightmare. It looks like someone just had, obviously if we're gonna you want a Corvette and I want a Corvette. If we were gonna install something or touch it on the inside, we'd be very gentle at taking off the dashboard.
But they just when this one looks like it's more.
It looks like if you go to the junkyard and you see someone that tried to soup up a 1980s Supra, you just see the GPS wires hanging out, and then they just ripped it off because I crashed the car. So
it already sounded bad when you said junkyard.
Yeah. Yeah, but apparently the new inside is going to have an LCD screen for the instrument cluster.
Ooh.
And
wait, touchscreen?
No. This is for the dashboard with the speedometer
okay,
and on the tachometer.
Oh, so it's digital?
Yeah, it's going to be digital, and it's going to have a speedometer that reads up to 220 miles per hour. But the previous model, and I think I am correct because it states here that the 2010 Viper, and that's what they keep referring to. So I'm going to assume, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the last Viper they made was a 2010 model. But that 2010 model also had a 220 mile per hour speedometer, but its top speed was only 202.
Ooh.
So, but it is going to have supposedly, I think, a bigger engine. I know it's going to still use the same V10 engine in it, not the regular V8.
Just completely.
I think it might have. I think I don't think there was any kind of details released into it besides that it is going to get a 6-speed manual transmission. Also, there's I'm not sure if it's the Cadillac. Yeah, the Cadillac. There's a new Cadillac out. I'm not sure if it's the CTS, but this car, if you look at it very closely, it does not have door handles on it. No door handles to be found. It might be like a push button thing like the Cadillacs have.
They have push button doors?
Yeah, like in the interior of one of the Cadillacs, I think it's a CTS or one of the more upper scale Cadillacs, is that, you know how like when you're on the inside of the car, you have the little door handle? Well, it's just a push button now. But the one complaint is that, well, what happens when the battery dies? Because it's electronic, but I guess we'll find out. But anyway, on the outside, this car doesn't have a door handle.
I've never seen a door handle one. I've seen the trunk. But I know.
Yeah, that's a different
that's
story.
pretty much it. Yeah,
that's been out since like on a lot of cars, especially with the American cars, since like the mid '90s.
Yeah, but I've never seen a push button door.
Yep, but no door handle. So far it has red calipers, and it still has the signature long Viper hood. It has a very long hood like all the other pony cars do as well.
That's gonna suck if you're walking, holding the key right when you push the button, you drop it into the water, into like a puddle.
Well, actually, here are the specs. It's going to have as much. Then this is just a guesstimation. It has about 650 horsepower.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it'll have, and that's actually an upgrade from about 50 from the previous 10 model. It had only had 600 horsepower. So this is going to be bumped up from that. The car is going to use an 8.4 liter V10 engine. Man,
wow!
This car is probably going to qualify on that gas guzzler tax.
All capitals.
Yeah.
Underlined.
It will have a 6-speed manual transmission, and it will be rear-wheel drive only, as it should be for a car like this. And that'll be the only option. No automatic, thankfully. There are gods. There's no automatic. And also because of the new federal laws that are in place, this is the first Viper that will ever have to adopt an electronically enabled stability control. There's like my new truck that I have, a GMC. There's something that Chevrolet has trademarked. General Motors, and more practicality, has trademarked called StabiliTrack, which pretty much keeps the car. Well, in my case for the truck, it keeps it from rolling over and prevents it from spinning out. Something that you had this morning. Well, it's a new government thing that all cars are required to have some kind of traction control installed on the vehicle now. Yeah. So this Viper will have that in there, as not as the previous models did. And the 2013 SRT Viper, the coupe will make its public debut on April 4th. So I was right; it was April 4th at the New York Auto Show. We will do a bit of coverage probably about that. And the convertible model is expected to be released several months later, possibly at the 2012 Los Angeles Auto Show.
Ooh.
And I really
must
want
go.
Yeah, I mean, it's nearby for us. We are in Los Angeles, so I would love to go see that Viper.
Wait, is it in the convention center or what?
Yeah, I believe here in Los Angeles, it is at the convention center.
Let's go.
Yeah, be fun stuff. Also out in the news is Ferrari. You don't really hear about them too much, at least not in everyday commoner use, but the Ferrari 620 GT is planning to get a 740 horsepower engine. Here's a little spy photo of the vehicle too. It has a 6.3 liter V12 engine in it. Very cool stuff, man. One of the pics of this little picture, which again you can see at the website, is painted in what they call a matte silver. It's a full-size wooden model. This is actually made out of wood.
Oh wow!
Because they're, why waste the money in making the sheet metal? It's just cheaper to make a wood model and then, give you a general idea so they can get investors and probably all that kind of stuff.
So is that a final design on it or what?
I'm not too sure. I think more or less this is more of a concept. I believe the car it's replacing is getting discontinued. So this will be something that's going to be replacing that gap in the Ferrari line, if I'm not mistaken. And if you want to quote, cut at me and say I'm wrong, which a lot of you do, but go ahead and do so and leave a comment, and I'll try to get back to you. One of the picks there is that it looks like it will be replacing a car that they have called the 599. No, actually, this is the 599, which will be replacing a model that actually is not listed, but it does share designing elements from other Ferrari models that they have. As examples are the California, the Ferrari FF, and the 458 Italia. Those are the other three models that it's sort of just taking the best cues, the best styling features of those three cars and implementing it into one car. Very cool stuff. I do like that grille in the front, except at this angle where the picture is, it kind of looks like a big happy face, like that dumb Mazda thing. They have that big happy face in the front of it. I'm not a big fan of that. But also according to...
That's why I'll change them out. I'm getting myself a body kit.
Oh, on a Ferrari?
No. I'm talking about on Mazda.
Oh, yeah, that. No, I thought you said a bike on a Ferrari. I was about to punch you in the face. I was like, what?
Dude, if you have a Ferrari, you don't want to put anything on that.
Unless you're Viva La Bam, but then that's another story. But
you're going to get red flagged on that one, dude.
Yeah, I know. But according to a magazine called Automobile, it was supposed to be powered with a 700 horsepower, 7.3 liter V12 engine with a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. But there's been another magazine that has debunked that rumor called GT Spirit, and they claim that there's going to be a smaller engine, which is always better gas mileage and all that. A 6.3 liter V12 engine.
When you have a Ferrari, though, it doesn't matter about gas.
Every cent counts. Every cent counts. V12 packaging with 740 horsepower, so it'll have more horsepower but less liters in the engine. So that's always pretty good. You get more power out of less. The car's official unveiling will be at the Geneva Auto Show, which will be the 29th. So only in a couple of days, it will be officially unveiled at the Auto Show in Geneva.
Let's see who's right.
Yeah. Also, talking about Ferrari. Dude, I don't even want to show you this picture. Now, when you think of Ferrari, can you tell me what you think of? Like, when I say the name Ferrari, what pops in your brain?
Expensive.
Okay. Name the top three. So, Ferrari.
Lamborghini, Porsche, Mercedes.
Okay, no, but I mean, like,
you're talking about
when I say the word Ferrari, what pops in your brain, like, about Ferrari? Give me like three things really quick. Like you said, expensive. What's another one?
Expensive.
I always go with exotic.
Exotic, yes.
Yeah.
And then freaking super.
Super. Okay. Well, this is probably one thing you never ever want to think of.
I thought you were talking about the top brands that come out. Yeah.
No. I was talking about just in general about the brand Ferrari when you think of it. So you don't think of crash it, cuts in two, and bursts into flames. Because apparently that's what a Ferrari did. Someone crashed their Ferrari F430, obliterated in a horrific car accident, and the passengers actually survived. Here's a couple of pictures of the horrible wreck. Yeah, you can see these pictures at b3radionetwork.webs.com. There's a link right there on the show notes.
That's a Ferrari?
Yeah, that was a Ferrari. Apparently what happened is that we don't ordinarily report car crashes, but this one was so horrific, and it's a Ferrari. I felt like I had to do a little promotion here of Ferrari. I mean, this thing was just, look at it. It's annihilated here. I guess the severity of the crash resulted in a Ferrari breaking in two. Luckily, the driver and the passenger were trapped in the car. Firefighters arrived almost immediately to the scene of the crash and freed them from the wreck, which only minutes later, the car burst into flames as soon as they got the guys out of there. So the two drivers, the driver and the passenger were in the car flipped over, and 2 minutes later, after they got them out, boom, just exploded into flames, which is the images that you see. It doesn't give too much specs on what they were doing, but I'm pretty sure they were going. I'm pretty sure they were going over the speed limit in an area where, and also you can see the ground stuff. It's wet, so I'm assuming it was raining, and so they probably lost traction, flipped the car, and well,
how the hell did it break in two?
I don't know.
I want to know what happened.
But you can see just the rubbish and the wreck. I mean, God, that's a horrific just image right there of that Ferrari just exploding after it flipped over, and it somehow they survived with no scratches on them. And look at these pictures, dude. That's like it's horrible. There's no passenger compartment left at all.
Dude, I could swear this is not a Ferrari. It doesn't look anything like a Ferrari.
I know, it looks like an upside down, burned up Toyota.
Honestly, I will admit, like an MR2 or something.
Yeah, and then someone put like fancy rims on it. That's like all you can say.
But then again, that's. Hopefully, they didn't do it for an insurance claim like that guy for Bugatti.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think so. I think this was a legitimate crash because that is a horrible crash. I mean, if you're gonna do something like that video I showed you a while ago about that guy drowning his Bugatti to get an insurance claim on it, but I mean, he didn't hurt himself that bad. He drove into the river at 40 miles an hour. Yeah, that's gonna hurt, but why would you take the chance on killing yourself with a Ferrari? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it was just a legitimate accident.
That's
I know, it looks horrible. Poor Ferrari.
Like somebody like chainsawed the middle and then like blew it up.
Just chartered off the ends with a cigarette lighter. On that note, we'll be right back. I actually have a story on recalls again. Sad news.
Dude.
So we'll come back with recalls. This is Speed only on the B3 Radio Network, Southern California's internet talk station.
This is the B3RN and B3RN HD1 Los Angeles, home of Speed, Wednesdays. Visit b3radionetwork.webs.com or subscribe to the B3 Radio Network podcast on iTunes.
Welcome back to Speed on the B3 Radio Network, Southern California's internet talk station. And as I was saying earlier, more recalls. I think I've done a recall every episode except for like maybe 2 episodes now. But this recall,
Not a really good year, dude.
yeah, and you know what's actually no dissing to the import man on the other side of the studio there, but I think I've only mentioned like one domestic car in a recall. I think Ford, one company.
No, there was like 2 companies, I think. It was only 2 companies, but everything else was like.
Sadly, the majority is
import, yeah.
But Honda and Nissan both have fuel system recalls. Apparently, what's wrong with the Hondas is that they're recalling certain 2012 Honda Pilot and Acura MDX models because of the vent shut float, also abbreviated as the VSF. Yeah, that's what they call it, the vent shut float. Valve seizes it causes the sorry, let me start that over. the VSF, man, hard lettering there, but valve, the case inside of the fuel tank assembly does not meet Honda's design specs. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, it does cause a problem, and here's the problem: the vent shut float valve case may leak from the fuel. The tank itself, which could increase the risk of fire on certain 2012 Honda Pilot and 2012 Acura MDX models. Increasing the fire risk could lead to injury and or death. And the fix for Honda will be that they will begin notifying owners of 2012 Pilots and Acura MDXs and dealers, as well as the individual owners, by March 13th, 2012. Dealers will inspect the assembly and replace the fuel tank assembly for free only if necessary. So I guess if there's no problem, they're not going to bother with it.
But I just want to admit, I after the whole Civic craze, I kind of lost respect to Hondas.
Actually, what's also
except for the Accord for some reason. For some reason the Accord I like. I don't know why.
Well, I think isn't Accord one of their best-selling vehicles besides the Civic? It's one of their more like out of the whole company. And also, I know they just ceased manufacturing of the Element. That has now been discontinued. They're no longer.
It was okay, but I'm not a fan of it.
Thankfully, they discontinued it. It wasn't a very attractive model, in my opinion. It wasn't. But they haven't. Last year was a very awful year for Honda in sales. I think we mentioned that like on one of our first episodes. With sales, I mean, Toyota just whipped them completely. Like, I think threefold. They just, their sales. And Honda, I mean, in the United States have had very strong sales traditionally. But last year was very bad for them. And Toyota had more of...
Even with the...
Yeah, with the tsunami that happened, I think it was already last March. Man, it's almost been a year now.
Dang.
And Toyota, that company, I think there was 3 companies that were affected, right? It was Toyota, Nissan, and Honda. And I think Toyota lost more plants and more of that company got hit by the tsunami than the other 3, but yet Honda lost, I think, the most out of that. I think it's just bad design in-house. Not necessarily in Japan, but, with their... with the stuff here.
Besides that, the Honda crave could be passing now.
That too. I mean, I've
seen more Toyotas around though.
Yeah, I have seen that too. Also, I think maybe they're. I think it just might be branding and advertising. I think they just haven't had a very successful vehicle. I mean, the Accord is aging. They're going to have to replace that nameplate soon. I mean, there are car companies that still use nameplates from years ago. I mean, I'm trying to think of one. I mean, the Crown Vic was out forever. You know?
Yeah, but those cars are actually really good though for the nameplates.
They are good, but I think they're just. What was that one car? I think the latest Civic. I think I reported that in the past episode that they were going to revamp the body. And it's only been about a year, and they're already having plans to revamp it because the body that they released turned out to not meet sales quotas. So people just said, wow, this is a hideous car. I'm not buying it. And sales just, boom, plummeted.
But like I said, though, after the Civic craze, I kind of lost respect to Honda.
But back to the fix on Honda. If you are an owner of a 2012 Honda Pilot and Acura MDX model, and you are a concerned owner or lease, or if you have a used vehicle, which I don't know why you would have a used 2012, but just wanted to mention it, you can contact Honda at 1-800-999-1009 to contact them of any concerns and or issues that you may have. And the number of vehicles affected by this recall go as high as 8,700 vehicles. For 2012 Honda Pilot, and 2012 Acura.
I think that's
MDX
the highest one out of all the ones you said.
Yeah, I think in the long run, I mean, a couple weeks ago we only had one that had like 2. Remember, I think one of the BMWs, the SUV, one of the SUVs, remember it only had like 7.
That was like
the least one. We were making fun of that because that only affected 7 vehicles, and they had to release a nationwide recall for only 7 cars.
But, hey, you never know.
Hey, yeah. Well, I guess it's better to release that kind of information, not get sued later, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then again, not just Honda. There's 2 recalls. Another one for Nissan. Apparently, both are recalling stuff for fuel systems. Nissan is recalling certain global models, including the. This is a vehicle that I'm not very favorable of, and I don't think you are either. The Juke, the Nissan Juke. Styling, my personal opinion, I'm not a fan of it. I understand there are people that are in that craze, and I think we actually had a question a while ago. What would you rather choose, the Juke or the Cube? I'd go with the Cube.
Yes.
The Juke is not to my liking so much. It kind of looks like an imported Pontiac Aztec. And my God, you know me. Back in the day, I used to own a Pontiac. Pontiac was actually my first car when I was a teenager. So I love Pontiac. There's a soft spot in my heart for Pontiac, but my God, was that a hideous, ugly SUV. Pontiac, what were you thinking? And if you have a Pontiac and you love the Aztec, fine, love it. But my God, I would never ever drive that thing. It looks awful.
I'd rather go with the Cube than the Juke and the Scion.
Oh yeah, that boxy
the XB or something like that.
Wasn't that like the first generation when they first came out? They had that box thing. It was a box with a hood that stuck out. Not a fan of Scion. No. If you are and you want to shout it out, go ahead. But my own, I'm stating this, making it very clear. My own personal opinion, Scions are not my styling liking.
No, me too.
Okay.
Me too.
But apparently, what's wrong with the Nissans, Jukes, crossovers built in Britain, and minivans. There's a cross-platform here with Nissan and Infiniti. So certain Infiniti models, the M and the QX models, built in Japan. And also some hatchbacks built in India called the Mirka and the March. And also some they have a lot of cars being on recalled. Some subcompacts built in China. Now, these are not necessarily for the United States. Again, these are all in other markets.
You said global, so.
Yeah, these are global. And China for subcompacts of the Nissan and Infiniti brands being issued with a fuel system fix. Not good, especially when you're releasing a recall for a notice. I mean, most of the time I release recall notices on the show only for the U.S. because that's really all it concerns.
But if this is global.
And here's the problem for those Nissans is that the fuel rails in the direct injection engines could have a mechanical glitch, which in extreme cases could cause a fuel leak, according to a magazine out there in Europe. On certain models, it may tighten the fuel rail pressure, the sensor, and this could gradually loosen the, I guess there's a gasket area where there's so much pressure that builds up and it could crack the seal and then it just leaks. So very bad. And it's right next to the engine. This is near where the gas line from the gas tank meets the engine.
Right?
Yeah.
The fuel.
Yeah, the fuel line that meets into the engine. Yeah, and this is for direct injection models only. This fuel leak could cause increase again, resulting in death and or injury. And the number of vehicles affected by the recall is as many as I think we have a new record here, 250,000 Juke crossovers, minivans, sedans, and Infiniti SUVs and hatchbacks from those global markets. 250,000 vehicles affected by this.
That's all together around the world, though.
All around the world, but that's the biggest number we've had here that I've released through the studio. And those vehicles were built between August 2009 and January 2012 that may be affected. Approximately 9,300 vehicles affected. No, sorry, 93,000 vehicles affected by the recall are in Japan alone. So if you know anybody or if you are listening in Japan and you have one of those vehicles, you might want to get that checked. No reports of injuries and or death have been related to the recall, but Nissan has issued that statement and is very concerned about their image. So, of course, they're going to probably take it back and do it for free.
Well, yeah, because Nissan, everybody, when you think Nissan, that's like one of the best tuner cars that you can think of.
Yeah, and probably out there in Japan where their market shareholder is probably bigger than the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I did want to mention this too, is that when you're going on the carpool lane, apparently you're going to see a new car there. When you're on the carpool lane, especially out here in California, there are certain carpools that you must have 2 or more people, or of course on the 10 at certain times. A dumb carpool rule here in California.
Have 3 or more.
Yeah, we have an Interstate 10 out here, and at certain times, it's rush hour, it's 3 or more, and then when it's non-rush hour hours, it's 2 or more.
It's 7 to 9, 3 people. 4 to 7, it's like 3 people too.
Yeah, regardless of that, but it's pretty much during heavy.
It's kind of lame.
Yeah, it's really dumb. They implemented that about like 7 years ago, and it really hasn't worked out too much. Sometimes the
unless you're riding a bike.
Well, yeah, but then you can go between lanes anyway. And out here in California, a bike can share a lane legally with another vehicle. But apparently, you will be seeing a new vehicle. You were aware that the Toyota Prius, even if you're one driver, if you have that OHV sticker, you can get in there. Well, apparently,
I thought they ended that.
They have, but the older cars, used to have those. Well, apparently the Chevy Volt only in California will be in the carpool lane now, even if you're just a single driver. For drivers in California, there are now 2 more reasons to pick up a Chevrolet Volt, and the electric car is now eligible for a pass for the state's. The state actually has over 1,400 miles of carpool lanes in the entire state, and it will be entitled to an increase of $1,500 in tax rebates that you'll receive from the government when you purchase this vehicle. So what they're going to do is that 2012 Volt models, they're going to be equipped with a low emissions package, no extra costs to the consumer, just to themselves, and that will allow the Volt to enter this special program that the government and the state have released to enter the carpool lane. So you'll get this little horrible tacky bumper sticker that you have to place on your car that pretty much lets the cops know, hey, I paid my dues, I can get in the carpool lane because it's a zero emissions generated vehicle.
See, that's why when you get the sticker like that, you put it on the bottom, not at the top like that.
Yeah, I know. This guy has it like right on his bumper.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure he
has it on the trunk, dude.
Well, the bumper of the trunk, yeah. Yeah, but apparently those are the 2 reasons to buy a Volt. And apparently when you buy a Volt too, you can receive up to about, I believe it's about $9,000 back from the government. Volts
within the year?
No. What I mean is you'll get a rebate check back.
Oh.
A Volt's, I'm not sure if it's the cheapest Volt. I think they only have 2 models of Volt. Like there's a base, and then there might be like you can get a couple of extra packages on top. But as far as I know, there's only one package, and the starting, I think it's $40,000 for a Volt. So it's very pricey for a car that's supposed to save you money in gas. But when you get the federal government rebate check, which I think is $7,500, plus this $1,500 money back from California saying that you can enter into the carpool lane because now it qualifies as a zero emissions vehicle, the car only starts at about $31,000, which helps out a lot, especially after taxes and stuff. So that's cool. Volt owners, if you're interested, you can go out there, and this is only available in California, seeing that the California has some of the strictest, I think it is the strictest state with
emissions.
With emissions, yeah. We do not kid around when we come to emissions. And really quick, before we end the show, I did want to come over with this, is that, do you remember that crossover SUV? We make fun of it all the time, is that Murano, the convertible SUV out here in the U.S. Now, it might be popular. I'm not sure if other countries have had this, where they have SUVs and they chop off the top, and it's popular. But out here in the United States, this was actually the first time we'd ever seen anything like that. And it looks funny. It doesn't look very good. Well, apparently Land Rover is wanting to do the same thing.
No.
Land Rover is bringing a convertible. How do you say that? The EQ to Geneva. It'll be at the Geneva Auto Show. This is only a concept model so far, but yeah, pretty much you're thinking of a convertible SUV from Land Rover, bringing it to showroom floors.
No.
So I believe as of right now, according from the story, the Nissan Murano is the only SUV convertible top, and it looks weird too because nowadays you don't see any SUVs that are two doors anymore. Those don't sell very well. I think one of the last companies that ever had two doors SUVs were Chevrolet. And those are kind of rare, and depending on the person that you ask, you would want that. I think Jeep stopped making two-door models too. I think one of the only available vehicles for a two-door model is like the Wrangler. That's about it.
I think that is the only one. 'Cause I've seen the Cherokee, and that's a four-door.
Yeah, I know the early Cherokee is when Chrysler bought off Jeep from AMC when AMC went defunct. I remember that they had two-door models, and to certain Jeep enthusiasts, they'll prefer the two-door model because it's more, it looks cooler to have only two doors. But again, Land Rover will be making that two-door model SUV convertible.
I do admit though, it looks a little better than the Murano.
No, a little.
Yeah, I know, right?
Also because this is more of a luxury.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if Nissan did that with an Infiniti SUV model, you would be able to get, still bad, but you would be able to get away with it more than a Nissan SUV model. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because Infiniti is like...
Yeah, like if Toyota did that, you kind of make fun of it. But if Cadillac did it, yeah, you still make fun of it. But, hey, you have that much money to burn, go ahead and burn it. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't be surprised if next one that comes up with this kind of idea would be Scion. Wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, God, the Scion. The Nissan Cube SUV.
Oh,
God.
Dude.
Well, not SUV, but the convertible Cube. Oh, no, the Juke. Oh my God! Imagine two ugly things in the world, because that's a crossover SUV, the Juke convertible.
Terrible, dude. Terrible.
No. Imagine this: a black Juke with a beige convertible top. Oh man, two of the most horrific worlds. Well, I'm Brian Bombaras, and behind the boards, Boontar MacGyver Horn. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Go ahead and leave us a voicemail anytime you want at 626-532-7154, or email us at speedradiob3@yahoo.com. You can always check out the website at b3radionetwork.webs.com. This is Speed, only on the B3 Radio Network, Southern California's internet talk station.